Streaming. We're live.
Oh my God!
Zero dropped frames. Not a one.
Heck yeah.
Because that's how we roll.
All right, perfect.
So it's Wednesday. Do you guys know how to podcast on a Wednesday?
Yeah, I've done it a couple of times. It was crazy.
Okay.
Ready to do it again.
All right.
Didn't we do it? Didn't we do it last week on a Wednesday? Or was
You're
that
right.
Thursday?
Yeah, but that was kind of like a vodcast rather than a podcast. It was like a look at a video and think deep thoughts about that video.
Question: you guys can't hear anything from my end, can you? You can't hear any music playing.
No, just you.
Correct.
Okay, good.
You just listening to some smooth jazz or something?
No, there's music being blasted now in another part of the household, and I was just making sure that y'all couldn't pick up on it.
I thought you were
You
just
could-
jamming to, the Gran Turismo 7 menu soundtrack while you were.
I was jamming to that
Chatting.
last night, actually. 4 o'clock in the morning, I got a hankering for some GT, and yeah, I was bumping. I was remarking to myself how much I love the vibes of that game. It's just nice, jazzy, clean. You
Mhm.
know, it's like a vacation with cars. And
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
I love it. I love it. I'm hoping the next motorsport can maybe replicate that feeling.
I don't know. I get more of a
mean-
vibe of like German efficiency from Forza
Mm.
Motorsport.
V-dub, nice.
So like some hard
Yeah.
industrial shit.
Rammstein.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. KMFDM. Oh my
Yeah.
God, both of the bands we mentioned are so old. Fuck. Fuck.
That
Well, I
actually
mean-
segues into the first thing, or one of the first things I noticed about Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush being the game that we mercilessly dunked on in our last meeting. That is
Mhm.
Yep.
actually kind of well made.
Did you
Yep.
play it, Paul?
I did. Plays really well. I don't
Nice.
love the jumping mechanic. I hate the main character.
Well, yeah, wasn't I saying that the platforming looked awful?
There's just not a lot of horizontal momentum to anything.
Gotcha.
The jumping is very vertical.
So anybody that's been a Mario veteran throughout their lives, they're probably gonna have a tough time with that, given that so much of Mario is, especially when you're running momentum
It's
based.
really not that hard.
Okay.
The
Yeah,
platforming is pretty
it-
basic.
Yeah, I wouldn't lose any sleep over the navigation systems and whatnot. They're all pretty cleanly laid out. I really like the combat system. I think it's fucking delicious. I like the fact that there's all these little bits and bobs you can unleash, and if you're like a parrying man, you can do some big parrying shit and um do all the crazy air combos and do all the and you know what I really appreciate that I was really worried about that I thought was really fucking rad is that the rhythm system is really forgiving and slots very nicely into the combat. It doesn't feel like, oh, your rhythm sucks ducks and so you're never going to fucking be good at this game. It's more like, hey, it's a cool little bonus cuz you did well. That was neat.
Mm-hmm.
And
Huge.
literally the entire game is on beat, like objects around you move to the rhythm, and the character himself will fucking snap his fingers and tap his feet whenever he sits still. He's just like, oh yeah, that's the one.
But I
And
mean,
you
that's
can
not
press-
that's not a necessarily new mechanic. I mean, Crypta the
Well-
Necro Dancer was doing that years ago.
Yeah, sure. It's just nice. It's just
Sure.
nice.
It's well made. Yeah, it
Yeah.
all means it all comes together into a pretty well made package.
Yeah, and the actual fighting feels pretty good, and there's a wide variety of special moves, and you can bust them out pretty regularly, and like when you blow it in battle or whatever, it's pretty forgiving. Um, the thing that I had the most difficulty with is there's these challenges you'll get to where you like come up to a switch and it's like, all right, hit that switch. Great. Now do 6 to 8 more inputs on a very specific set of timings. And you're like, okay, cool. And that will take me like 15 fucking tries because again, not like a ton of rhythm. And it'll just sit there, be like, I thought I was supposed to press it there. Nope, no, I fucked it up again. And then 9 times later, I'm like, okay, no, I think I'm going to do two. I think I'm going to do. But like the bosses, that's that.
They're pretty
Sure,
cool.
I'm on the normal man mode because I'm a scrub.
I was
But
gonna ask. Yeah, so there are difficulty settings.
Yeah.
sure are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Which I think it changes how tight the timing windows are
Oh,
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
as one of the
Gotcha.
main changes.
Yes.
One thing I don't know how I feel about this. Like the rhythm stuff is pretty fun. And there's lots of cool combos you can do, and it looks really awesome when you pay attention to it. But
Mhm.
video gamers are hardwired to look at what they're doing and look at what the character is doing. And you kind of have to ignore what's going on the screen when things are getting hectic and you pay attention to the music. Because what you're doing in time with the beat doesn't line up with what your character is doing. There's a gap between you pressing a button and the character doing something. So if you're paying attention to the character, it's really easy to mess up your rhythm. And I wanted to pay attention to what was going on because it looked cool. So
I kind of had the opposite experience where like if you're listening, you're sort of free to look. Where it's just like or like cuz like every the X attack, the rhythm is the same every time. Every single time the rhythm is the same and it's the same like once you get what a combo like once you figure out like how it goes, you pretty well never have to pay attention again. You could just kind of like run with it and have fun. But yeah, when you're figuring all your shit out for the first time, you have to be zeroed in and like you get blinders on and it sort of degrades the experience somewhat. But like you the next time you've got more situational awareness. In my experience. I mean, some people
Yeah.
might feel differently when they actually sit down and play.
I think probably the most important question though
Mm,
for this kind of game:
mm,
how's the music?
good.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Eh,
The original shit is decent. It's interesting because a lot of the original compositions I found that they sort of like operate as background music, which is helpful. Like they're very simple and they pick simple songs because again they try to build a world that revolves around that rhythm.
Right.
And
Okay.
and so the music has to sound a certain kind of way. So if you're like, I want some like big bang and rock jams, I'm like, mm, no, we're in kind of a 4/4 club right now. So you just sort of like we find things that fit that mold. Like there's one Nine Inch Nails song that they picked that I'm like, oh fuck yeah. And it's like, yeah, this is because it has that very specific time signature that they need to slot nicely within the game. And they'll like stretch out certain segments of tracks that they've like licensed specifically so that they can use them in that manner. And then all of the original music sounds similar, like it was very much composed on a theme. So I guess you know what, Paul? I guess I'll say this: the music isn't amazing, but it was chosen with great care.
yeah, I mean they chose it for a reason for sure. The original stuff is super repetitive. You
Yes.
spend quite a while in each one of the environments, and the loop is not long, and it doesn't change. It just keeps going forever, which is cool and fun when you stop and your dude's snapping his fingers along with the beat and everything's bouncing around and you're like, yeah, that's cool, good job. But I wanted it to change up a little more often, and the songs are very much from an era, and it's like the early 2000s, and I don't know why everything is from that very specific time period.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I always just assume that whoever's in charge of the music was like, you can kind of like peg their age pretty accurately
Yeah.
based on like what it was that they've been listening to.
Yeah, like I mean, people our age are going to enjoy it because it was a formative years happened there, but and probably a little bit younger too. But I think people under a certain age are going to go, why are these songs here? Also over a certain age, be like, I think that era of music is pretty disposable. I might be wrong, but that you're right. That Nine Inch Nails song, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's good shit.
Which one was it? Hurt?
It's I think that the actual track of it is the actual title of the track is 1 million.
1 million. Okay.
Yeah, it's the second song off of the Slip.
Cool.
I listen to a lot of Nine Inch Nails, it turns out.
Cool. Is that the only Nine Inch Nails track in the game?
I think so.
It's the only one I've heard so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I seem to remember when they were flashing the names of the artists they had. I remember them playing or showing Nine Inch Nails first. So I figured they'd have at least a couple tracks in the game, 2 or 3 maybe.
Might be kind of expensive to license this shit.
True. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah.
I haven't beaten it yet, but I've also heard that it's not that long. So I don't know that there's actually that much in terms of volume of licensed music.
Yeah.
It's kind of like one licensed jam per level.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And it
Yes.
it comes in at a certain point when the intensity ratchets up.
Mhm.
But
And with a game like that, the DLC really writes itself. It's sign an artist or two and create a fun level to go with it. And yeah, I think it would be pretty easy to pump DLC out for that game, just like it was for a Rock Band or a Guitar Hero.
for sure.
Not that it's easier to make the DLC in Hi-Fi Rush by any means. I'm sure it would take a lot more effort to implement a new level in Hi-Fi Rush than it does a new song in Guitar Hero.
Yeah, you'd have to build a world around the track.
Yeah.
Probably it would just end up being a sequel.
Yeah.
The development time would be such. You're like, no, you know what? This is just another game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a sequel would be easier to churn out. They've already got a lot of the animation work done, the character animation and the environmental animation. You can repurpose a lot of that stuff, in kind of building block sort of ways. So they at least don't have to start from scratch there.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So
it's better than I thought it would be.
yeah.
I would give it like a solid 7.5.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
What were you playing recently, Rhett?
The big thing that I've been doing, I mean, other than our continuing Demon Souls playthrough on the channel, we have started the new Dead Space, which I encourage everybody to come check out.
Later tonight, right? Or no, Demon Souls tonight.
Demon Souls is tonight. Yeah, I'll do more Dead Space tomorrow. Dead Space, very well made. I think it probably lived up to everybody's expectations. If you wanted essentially the exact same game, just prettier, then this is for you. This is the money. This is the money shot. But I don't know. For someone like me, who, I mean, I liked the original, but I didn't feel too strongly about it one way or another. I feel like it could have done more, but it is the exact same game. It just looks prettier. I don't think Isaac was voiced in the original, and he actually has a face now. So like, there are some things like that are different. But as far as the story beats and the way the game plays, I feel like I'm playing Dead Space 2008 or whenever it came out. Again, it's very, very well made. And if you wanted that original Dead Space experience, then this is for you. But I mean, it's so close to the original. They even have the same. It's even the same playtime. You'd be looking at the same playtime roughly. I've heard basically 10 to 15 hours. Some people will say 12 to 15, but I've seen other people say 10 to 15, and you'll be done this game. And I don't know, like, I spent $100 on it, and I don't know if I feel great about spending $100 on a 10-hour game. You know,
Yeah.
I'm kind of torn. Like it's again, that's in summation, it's very well made, but maybe a little too short, and maybe it hits a little too close to home. Maybe a little too
Yeah.
close to the original.
Well, I think the price also probably hurts a little bit more given that it's a game
Dude,
that's 15 years old.
if it was a $49.99, great,
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But
I think it would be a little different if you were paying $100 for a 10-hour experience that was really pushing the limits of what you can do in a video
yeah,
game. But this
exactly,
is,
exactly.
this is 15-year-old game design that looks real nice.
Looks real nice, sounds real nice. I've been chirping the guy though. It was either a producer or a developer who came out and he was like, "Yeah, the game is so scary I can't even play it." Get the hell out of here. I've been chirping him for the past 3 episodes. The game is not scary. Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess that's subjective, but I mean, I've been playing with my heart rate on screen and it hasn't gotten past like 80. So I don't know what's going on here. I'm playing it and I'm wondering when the scary parts are going to begin, and I'm thinking that there's a producer who's actually gone on record and said that I can't play the game. My knees click together too hard and it wakes up my family when I'm trying to play it late at night. That's bullshit. That is one of the most PR driven stories I've ever seen, and that guy should be ashamed of himself.
Hey,
Yeah.
hold up. Counterpoint.
Yeah.
I just want to say that in my experience, when people get together to make horror type content, it tends to be shit that they find personally frightening. Now, this guy doesn't have a leg to fucking stand on because he's a producer, and that doesn't
Right.
necessarily mean this is his vision.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
for example, you get like your Junji Itos or whatever, and they're like, I just make stories about the scary shit I can imagine.
Yeah.
So you would hope or assume that their own content kind of spooks them out a little bit, at least on some level, and you would think a game would be even better for that than like a written story or something else that you control literally every element of.
I'm with you on that, but living in a post PT world
I was going to
where
say.
we got right arguably one of the greatest demos ever released, and a game that very much was based off of what scared Hideo Kojima, what scared Guillermo del Toro. And we only got such a small slice of the pie on that one, but still, that was absolutely incredible, and one that scared the shit out of me. One that, it was complete director's vision, and one that scared the shit out of me. In this game, I mean, it's complete director's vision, and I don't know, it's not scary. It's just very much like action-based, in your face, intense at times, but not scary.
Yeah, when you got like a big nasty gun of some sort, and it's just
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just me and my huge sidearm
Yeah.
against these scary monsters. It's just like,
Well, I made sure to kick the difficulty up to try to at least, offset that a little bit, but even still, it just, I don't know.
okay.
It's not scaring me like I hoped it would. My heart
That's
rate's
fair.
gotten way higher playing Demon Souls.
Yeah, it's a different kind of stress.
Yeah.
True enough.
Paul,
What's up, dog?
what have you been playing?
I downloaded GoldenEye
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
because I love GoldenEye.
And who doesn't?
Great game, well designed, holds up really well. This port,
Mhm.
Really
disappointing.
important question. Did you play on an Xbox or Switch?
Xbox.
Okay. I actually liked the default control scheme for Xbox better.
Control scheme is okay, but this game is from like what, 1996, 97, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
It doesn't run smooth.
Ooh.
Like, it gets framey in places, and I don't know. I guess this is probably just an emulated N64 game
Mm-hmm.
that's, hacked to be widescreen or something like that, but I feel like they could have done more. There was that it never came out, but Rare remade GoldenEye for the 360. There's, leaked demos out there, and that looked amazing.
Was that the same one that came out on the Wii?
No.
So remember, there was a GoldenEye that was released on the Wii, but no, so this wasn't the same.
Yeah, outside of this never released remake, it's always been the original game.
Okay.
And don't get me wrong, the original game still holds up. It's fun
I
as
think
hell.
it's I think that the original GoldenEye is probably one that if you were to poll 100 gamers, a significant portion of them, 100 gamers at a certain age, a significant portion of them would list GoldenEye as maybe their favorite childhood game.
Yeah, a lot of the guns are iconic, the sound effects are iconic, the levels are
Yeah.
iconic.
Mhm.
Everything about it, iconic. I just wish it ran really well and they sharpened it up a little bit. It looks even muddier than I remember. And I remember it being pretty much like Vaseline on a camera lens.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think because and it's running using emulation software that like if there's frame dips, they're the same ones that were in the original release.
Mm.
Which
Like,
I mean,
cause like that game really pushed the N64 in certain ways. Like, um, I know I definitely remember frame dips if you like had enough enemies on screen or like enough explosions. Also, the explosions themselves were, I don't know, I want to say like a 3-4 frame cycle. And it's just like a flat image. It was just like, it's a big explosion picture that shows up in your screen, and then it kills you if you're close enough.
this sounds like the sort of technical stuff though that we ripped Rockstar apart for with the GTA definitive release, you know?
Well, I think they were trying to do like an actual remaster with that one. And this is just like a
It's
straight
just a
port.
port. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So like if they'd come out and be like, we're gonna make a sexy version of the N64's GoldenEye, I was like,
Right.
well, you fucked that up. But no, this is just them taking it as closely as they can to the original experience,
So,
which
yeah, you
yeah.
say as closely as it can. I wanted to ask, is Pierce Brosnan in the game? Is his pancake mug still in there, or is
Oh,
it?
it's the same mug.
So he's there. But so I'm trying to remember. Like he was in the what? Right? Because I remember his face being on the cover.
His face was on the cover for sure. I
Yeah,
mean,
And a version of his face is in the game.
a version of his face. Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
he is still in there. That's good to know.
yeah, all the characters look like they did before.
I wonder if Pierce got paid for this. He probably did
Probably at least a bit.
a little bit.
I feel like video game licensing and appearance fees back in the day were not great. I bet the contract was
Yeah,
not much better. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna come right out and say it.
yeah.
But I'll tell you what, I would play more first-person shooters that control like GoldenEye with the left and right motion moving the weapon and not so much moving the reticle. You know what I mean? There's something about the way GoldenEye plays, and especially if you're playing on a lower difficulty, you just want to blast through some levels, shoot some dudes, jump off the
Well,
dam, blow up some tanks, do the stuff.
yeah.
There's
Part of that
something
is
about
also
that auto aim that feels
yes.
really good. If somebody put that into a modern setting, I feel like it would play really well.
I think auto aim has come a long way to the point where like in some games you don't necessarily know that it's there.
Yeah.
Or you don't realize it until somebody points it out and it's just like, no, you can't shoot that well. You're like, ha, you're right, I can't.
Yeah.
But like with GoldenEye, it had to be so fucking aggressive because if you didn't have the system helping you shoot, you'd never hit anything. It'd be fucking impossible, buddy. I know,
That's true.
like the whole moving left and right with the gun is a cool idea, but like when you have to like in the first level, you have to aim to take out the alarm systems,
Hmm.
and it is such a fucking chore every time. You're like, bam, 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 and you hit like just to the side 3 times, and then you get it, and then you get it a few more times, and you get it one more time. You actually finish it, and you're like, fuck, that felt like an ordeal. It was an ordeal.
You also feel a lot like James Bond when you're running down a corridor and you know the pistol snaps to a guy that's hundreds of feet away and you just
Yes.
snipe him with no issue whatsoever. Just love
Yeah,
it.
it's a real like you're a secret agent man of incredible skill.
Yeah.
We're like, yeah, if you want to feel like a real badass, you just sort of inhabit the fucking the cyber suit that is James Bond and watch it do a lot of the fucking labor.
Yeah. I will
Sort
also
of like
say
a
yeah, go ahead.
yeah. I was gonna say sort of like a universal ride. You just like get into the seat and it's just
James
like, yeah,
Bond
let's
ride.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the levels that suck in the original games still suck too. Like that jungle level where you have no idea where you're going. It's the same.
Fuck that noise.
Would highly recommend downloading it though if you're on Game Pass. It's worth a
Oh shit, yeah,
a little run
absolutely.
down nostalgia lane.
Yeah, the controls are a lot more intuitive on the Xbox. It's two different dev teams that did the two different ports.
Oh,
Yes. So if you have the choice, go Xbox.
because the Switch one controls like the N64 game, right?
It does, which is bad.
Yeah, I can't imagine releasing a new game without the Call of Duty control mechanic.
Yeah,
Move on
that's the
one
cool
stick,
thing
look on
about
the other stick.
yeah, that's the cool thing about modern shooters is that you pick one up and you already know what the controls are because they're
Mhm.
all the same.
Yeah, that's true.
I think you
Yeah.
can actually get you can get like a new version of the N64 controller for the Switch because they have that goofy service with all the N64 games. And it might feel somewhat better on there, but it also might still feel bad.
Oh, I'm confident it would feel bad.
Yeah.
But it
Speaking
might
of
be that kind
controls,
of bad that you're like, oh yeah, I remember this.
hmm,
I remember this. Proximity mines only. No odd job. Nobody's
nice.
picking odd job.
Yeah.
God, prox mines only. Oh, what a fucking what a game. It's like hide and seek, but like more
Somebody
exploding.
inevitably picks Jaws as a flex. Like I don't care if my character's big, I'm still gonna mess you up.
Hell yeah.
Anywho, what else y'all been playing?
Um well, uh uh old shit. A lot of old shit.
I was gonna say good stuff, I guess, huh?
Well, I have a friend who was going through Final Fantasy X too, and he
Oh,
was like,
yeah,
"Hey,
yeah.
if you were playing this at the same time, you could remember enough that you could like give me some tips because I've beaten that game conservatively about 4 times."
Oh,
And
really?
yes, yes, I. It's a game with a job system where you can like switch jobs in battle and like you can max out the job so you've like completed the job for every character, and that massages the lizard brain for me very gently. And all I want to do is make sure every character is perfect and powerful and pristine. And yeah, so I played a lot of that game.
That's the one that's got the pop star job, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Um
That's a good game.
every bit of dialogue is cheesy and ridiculous. There's a character named Brother who like screams every line. He's amazing.
Just the way it should
and
be.
like and like all the it's so funny because like every line is voice acted, but it feels like it was all recorded at like different times, different days with different equipment, like different distances to the mic, and like the timing is fucked. So like somebody would be like, "All right, there's a line that sounded like something a normal human would say," and then just this like precipitous drop into a valley of fucking silence, and then another person pops up with the fucking reaction line. And you're like, "Oh God." This whole thing feels like a fucking Zoom meeting.
Those classic days where nobody would reanimate anything. So especially Japanese games, when they put English voice acting into it, it had to fit the pacing of the Japanese voice acting, and it makes
which is
no
completely
sense.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just absolute nonsense.
Fun though. I fuck with it.
Yeah, they remastered those, right? 10 and 10-2,
Yeah.
maybe.
I mean, remaster feels like a strong word. It's more like it looks good and clean on a proper monitor or a television screen. And they're like the international versions because they used to do this thing with Final Fantasy games where we'd get like the base game and then they'd release like a better version in Japan and we'd never see it. But now when they do re-releases of these games, you get like 10-2 international whatever and it's got like this whole like monster catching system they set up where it's like, yeah, you can just go out and grab shit and fight with it and train with it in the fucking simulations and there's all sorts of weird rewards and progression paths that specifically involve these monsters. It's like a whole fucking sub game. You're like, oh, okay. You can equip them with dress spheres and shit. It's just like, cool.
I mean, as long as that side content is better than the mini games in 10, like dodging the lightning 255 times or whatever the number is to get someone's ultimate weapon, no thank you.
Yeah. You'll never catch me doing that shit again.
Once was more than enough, as it turns out. Has anybody played Forspoken?
No, I did have an idle thought like, man, I should check that game out. Cause
Oh no.
I have a strong defense against cringy dialogue. Like it does critical damage to the two of you, but me, I'm just like, ha, all right, cool, whatever, fine,
Right.
let's rock. I don't give a shit. Like, yeah,
So yeah,
Like
you
some-
would be an essential party member. We would have to have you in here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because I remember when it dropped, somebody was like, oh, here's a clip of actual dialogue from Forspoken. And then I watched, I was like, oh, that was funny.
Dude, I was in tears. It was so bad.
Yeah, I liked it. I was like, it was a great line. It was funny. I was just like, all right, cool.
I was crying.
It's like, if you're going to make everything rhyme, just fucking shit, just kill me now. I'm like, that's a great line, you know?
Yeah. Right. Right.
Yeah, but like, on the other hand, it's got like that busy fucking feeling in the combat where like, I don't know, I don't fuck with it. I might try the demo again and then make a buying decision based on that. But like, I bounced off the demo so hard, so fast. Something about just like the way the combat works just felt like,
Oh, it's Clunk City. You know,
Trash.
the way you switch magic and the way you have to approach every encounter is so busy. You know, there's a lot of, you got to hold all these buttons and hold L3 and R3 and then lean in a direction and release them all at the right time to get the, you know, it's one of those radial menus that doesn't really work the way you want it to. And I don't know if it's the exact same in the final game because I only played the demo. And I'm not going to pay for the main game unless it's, you know, $5 on a Steam sale.
yeah,
It's just sits in such stark contrast to something that is well tuned and well designed, like, even though they're not anywhere near to being the same type of game, something like God of War Ragnarok that has a lot going on. There's a lot of different things. There's a lot of weapons, a lot of combos, and it's 100% natural to switch between them. It never feels like you're burdened by the control system, but Forspoken does. It is very burdensome when you're in a complicated battle.
okay, good to know.
Yeah, games that move quick like that and that don't allow you to like preload your actions, like in God of War, for example. If you've got the Blades of Chaos out and you're in the middle of a combo, you can hit right on the D-pad to switch to the axe, and when the combo ends, then he'll pull the axe out. You know, it works flawlessly. And if Forspoken doesn't do something like that, for as busy as it gets at times, you know, as far as the footage I've seen, seems to get pretty hectic. Yeah, it just sounds so clunky, unbearable.
Maybe that's something they'll fix in a patch, something like that. The last game these devs made was Final Fantasy 15, and that sucked at launch.
Yeah,
But by the time the Royal Edition came out, it was a very competent game and well worth playing.
but it's also Final Fantasy. I don't know if, like, is there going to be enough faith in this IP for them to even, you know, continue to work on it to that extent?
I don't know, man. The supporters seem to really like it.
Yeah, but who are the supporters?
Alex
Well, they're
Thomas.
the people that drive this sales metrics.
And they're few and far between.
Well, I mean, Hi-Fi Rush outsold it when they dropped in the same week.
There you go.
Womp.
There you
Yeah.
go.
And
So
we
that's
found
what I'm
out
saying.
about
Like, who are these
Hi-Fi
supporters?
Rush the day it
Nobody's.
released. Yeah.
People that mean nothing.
I mean, that's not fair. They mean stuff.
That's pretty. Yeah, that was pretty stiff.
Yeah. I just don't know if there's enough of them to mean continued support after launch.
Yeah.
So, are you ready to talk about some news? Do you have any more games you want to bring up?
Yeah, I do actually.
Okay, hit us up, buddy.
I would say two things real quick. I think people would be interested. I picked up the new DualSense Edge controller.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
talking about Forspoken and its terrible controls, you know, the back paddles, pretty sweet, I must say. There's a lot of different things that you can do with it. A lot of like functionality things that they updated the firmware on the PlayStation to be able to handle. There's like new menus and things that you can go into, and you can customize dead zone sensitivity and triggers and like all kinds of stuff. Really, really nice. But I'm not convinced of the price tag yet. It's really expensive.
Well, they generally the really nice controllers tend to fucking set you back a bit, do they not?
Man, but yeah, this thing it was about $300.
Woo.
Woof.
Dang,
Yeah.
dog.
Damn.
Not great.
I'm good.
How's the battery life? I heard the
So that's the
battery
one
is
thing.
like half
Yeah.
as big as the regular DualSense.
Well, I think that the thought process was we're not going to change the battery because it comes with this guy here, which is like this like locking mechanism. You plug in and then you can actually lock it into the stick so it doesn't release. And I think their thought process was it's also like, I don't know, I'd say maybe 10, 12 feet long. I think that they're thinking like, yeah, let's just keep the thing plugged in as much as you can. Because yeah, the battery life, I don't think that it's anywhere improved from the original DualSense. So I think you're looking at probably what, like 5-6 hours before you need to recharge.
I mean, I've never once in my life had a problem with the battery life of a PlayStation controller.
No, and apparently it is a problem, but yeah, I'm happy with the controller, just not happy with the price tag. The big game though that I've really been enjoying over the past week or so is the early access for Undisputed, previously known as ESBC Boxing. It is the new great boxing game that is on the way. I mean, early access, its early access state is actually fantastic. There's a good roster. The game works. It runs smoothly. There's just a lot of stuff that's missing from it. So like career mode isn't there and create a fighter. There's a lot of stuff that's not there. But the boxing itself, man, if you have been waiting for a boxing game, if you've been playing Fight Night Round 4 for the past decade and you've been dying for something new, I wrote in my preview for it that this Undisputed is primed to become the greatest boxing game of all time. It's actually amazing how well it plays in the ring, how realistic it is. They've got this like loose movement mechanic, this loose footwork mechanic, where you can tap the D-pad and your fighter will transition into a stance that's identical to what they actually do in real life. So like Tyson Fury comes to mind. You tap up on the D-pad and Tyson Fury, he goes into this stance where he kind of lowers his hands, but he has this more fluid movement that allows him to knock people out easier. It's a major part in what makes this game as realistic as it is. It's actually like impressive at times how much it simulates the actual sport of boxing. The other big thing with it is the loose movement mechanic is huge, but the hit boxes are the most accurate that I've ever seen in a boxing game. There are no free shots. There are no like, the game isn't going to give you anything. You need to earn every single punch. You'll run into situations where you're actually like punching around somebody's guard and missing them completely, and you'll hit them in the side of the head with your bicep, or you'll try to break through somebody's guard, but you're only going to tap their wrists or something like that. Like, it's just super realistic. You got to kind of see it in action to see how it actually plays and how it actually feels like boxing. But man, I am super impressed with this thing through the past week. And again, it just came out in early access yesterday. I could not recommend enough. Everybody check out this Undisputed boxing game. It's on Steam, obviously. And it'll be coming to consoles at some point, but man, if you can, get your hands on it now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this looks good.
Dude, it's very good. The one thing that I knocked it for, though, I will say, just to wrap up here, is the roster is very impressive. What will actually, who will actually be playable at launch is impressive, but there are some glaring omissions that I'm not happy about. No Mike Tyson, no George Foreman, no Manny Pacquiao, no Floyd Mayweather. There's Floyd Mayweather Sr., but no Floyd Mayweather, arguably the greatest boxer of all time. Yeah, there's some glaring omissions there that I hope they fix.
It's pretty much the four guys that you'd have to pay a lot of money to
A
get in your
lot
game.
of money, yeah. The fucking Prime Minister of the Philippines, is that what it is? The Prime Minister out there, yeah, Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, Pac-Man.
President, yeah. I mean, you're gonna have to pay that guy a lot for his rights, but yeah. I'm excited to see where this game goes over the coming months and years.
Let's hope it's got a sick ass character creator.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Because I downloaded WWE 22 because it was on PS Plus.
Nice. I was gonna say, I hope you didn't pay for it because the new one's coming out very soon.
Yeah, no, it was on PS Plus this past month. Because I remember you talking about the character creator. And
did you get a chance to go through it?
Yes, I did.
And?
I made a character that looked exactly like Majin Buu.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Pepto-Bismol pink with the swoop on the head.
Man.
Got the vest, got the parachute pants. Man, he looked awesome.
Is it not the best character creator in the business right now?
It's got a lot of flexibility.
A lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I looked 0% at the controls, so as I was, fighting as Majin Buu, I had no idea what I was doing. It seemed like most of the buttons kind of did the same thing. I'm sure it's a little more nuanced than that.
It is, no doubt about it. And the games have been nuanced for some time. It's a control scheme that's evolved over 2+ decades.
Yeah.
And so it really does take some time. I mean, as much as they'll try to say that, yeah, we've streamlined things and made it as accessible as ever, it does take time.
Mm-hmm.
It does, you do need to put practice in. But like nowhere near the kind of practice that you would need to put into play like a Street Fighter or a Mortal Kombat. It's not anything like that.
Yeah, it was definitely more approachable than something like that, as with zero knowledge. But yeah, good character creator.
Cool. I'm looking forward to hearing what you think about the game because I reviewed it and I thought it was the best wrestling game to come along in over a decade, easily.
Should we talk about news?
There's some news.
There is.
Oh yeah. Well, it was just we found out yesterday that uh the big three are not really gonna be at E3. Like, Nintendo's not gonna be there. Nintendo's never fucking there. Nintendo hasn't been there for years. Microsoft is probably not gonna be there. EA's probably not gonna be there. Sony's probably not gonna be there. So it's like, what the fuck is E3 gonna look like this year?
Capcom and energy drinks.
Yeah. Yeah, Logan Paul will be all over it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I was thinking about it, and like, I don't think I'd really want to go.
No.
Cause
No,
like,
I think we should just stream over top of any of the stuff that's happening.
Fuck
and,
yeah.
and just light it up.
100%. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, cause like, man,
But I mean, would your mind change if you were offered the trip?
no,
Oh, interesting. I
no,
mean,
because
if it
like,
is just going to be a bunch of indie shit, then
well, it's
know.
that, and the fact that like, I've seen the shots of what the crowds look like, and I'd be one of 10 people wearing a fucking mask.
right,
So
right, yeah, that's
not
dumb.
a cool time
Yeah,
in my estimation. I don't want my first big COVID infection to come from a fucking convention. I'll probably be like all beefed up and have hit the gym
super
several
COVID,
times.
guaranteed. Yeah, yeah.
I think
And it would.
I think you should get a grab bag if you go to E3, and in it should be a fucking 5-pack of N95s. Like,
Nice.
I don't like just generally people should be wearing them when they go to that event.
But,
That'd be cool.
You know, how are you gonna drink those energy drinks? You got your mask on.
It's true, man. That prime energy, it ain't gonna drink itself.
You take it outside like an adult.
Nah, man.
You drink it in
Every,
the blistering sun.
every time you need to take a sip, you're going outside.
No, not a sip. You slam that fucker like a
Okay.
shotgun shell.
You're right. I
A
gotcha.
sip. Preposterous.
You spend hours just going back and forth drinking your fucking one energy drink.
No, you
No,
power those bad boys down because, as everyone knows, the main purpose of being at an event is to be in line for something, and you gotta power down those energy drinks to keep your shambling corpse upright
Totally.
as you wait for what's surely not worth it.
No.
A poster, a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Don't do it, people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless you really want it, and then you should. Get sucked in by the marketing. It's all good.
I'm definitely looking forward to covering E3 this year, as I do every year. I think it's a blast, you know, watching all the prezzies and like watching everybody try to like bring the hype and the noise when like none of them have ever been equipped for that. Like nobody who presents at E3 knows how to present at E3.
Oh man, it's always so cringy. Honestly, the only one that's been pretty solid, say what you want about them, but Todd Howard usually comes out and he's pretty respectable. You know, the games might not always be there, but he's pretty respectable in his presentation.
He's gotten better at doing prezzies as the prezzies themselves have gotten much worse. Because like
yeah, he's convincing. Although I've been burned one too many times by you, Todd.
Yeah, you know, good head of hair. He comes out like, yeah, it's easy to get sucked in, but
yeah, I remember meeting the second in command, Pete.
Yeah, Pete Hines.
Pete Hines, that's the one.
Yeah,
Pete Hines. I met that dude at a party. That was cool. I don't really have anything to say about that. That was the one good Bethesda event because it was like structured like an old timey fair, and you had these giant fucking turkey legs to gnaw on and like pins
legendary
to get. Yes, that was it. That was the last good one. After that, it was just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Really, they were just handing out big turkey legs.
and
Yes.
booze, but you know.
So was this like tied to a certain game?
This was tied to the Bethesda showcase.
Just the whole showcase.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was
gotcha.
the
Yeah.
year that Doom came out. So there was that. There was, I don't know, some kind of maybe it was Fallout 4 DLC. There was a Skyrim thing. The turkey legs came from the Skyrim thing, obviously.
Right. Yeah, that's what, yeah, right. So
yeah.
I was wondering. Okay.
Yeah, it
That's
was
cool.
It was good. But
That's cool.
I years after that went to the Fallout 76 launch thing in
Ooh,
West Virginia. And
nice.
I knew the game was going to be shit when Todd wasn't there.
Oh, brutal.
No Todd, no sale, my friend.
Dude, straight up. Were they playing that song like everywhere you went as well?
Oh, those country roads.
Take me home,
they
yeah.
took me home,
yeah.
baby.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they milked the shit out of that license, I bet.
I think that was a very expensive trip for them to put together.
No doubt. No doubt.
It didn't work. The game sucks. It still sucks.
Still sucks. Yeah, they just can't figure out that like latency between pulling the trigger and your shot landing. There's a latency there that's just, it throws everything off. Throws the whole feeling off.
There are a lot of apologists for that game now.
Yeah.
Who are like, no, it feels great. They are delusional because it does not feel great.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that they're, wanting to believe as bad as they can that it is great, they're.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
if they
they've
were
convinced
able to cut
themselves.
the cord, if they were able to cut that online component and let you play 76 offline,
I'd be so into it.
I think it would be pretty good.
Drop the single player update with the VAT system. I'd be right there day one.
Yeah, dog.
Yeah.
As we know, Fallout 5 isn't going to show up until like 2040.
Oh God. Yeah, right. Far, far after Elder Scrolls 7, or is it 7? 6. Elder Scrolls 6 shows up.
6, yeah. Starfield's maybe not even coming out this year.
Did they delay it again, or like what makes you say that?
They went from having a release date to not having a release date.
Ooh.
So
Yeah.
So that's probably a good call.
it's possible because like they were set for like last November, weren't they? That was going to be their time, and then
11/11.
and then they were like, "Huh, wait, no, that's ridiculous. We can't possibly do this. Are you fucking crazy? No, it comes out when it's done. Get out."
Just forget it.
Man, there had to be some meetings with people saying like, listen, look at CD Projekt and what happened with Cyberpunk. Like we just can't be a laughing stock like that. We'd rather delay it than be a joke.
Yeah, they'd be pointing at that. Sorry, go ahead, James.
I was gonna say, I was under the impression that maybe once they came under Microsoft's wing, that their new overlords were like, well, no, you can't put out a half-finished game. But then those same motherfuckers turned around and dropped Halo Infinite.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
like,
exactly what I was gonna say.
Obviously you can, guys.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear that they have basically given up developing that game?
They have. Yes, that's other news. They're like, we're done.
Really? No, I did not hear
Basically,
that.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple big live service games that they've completely given up on. Halo Infinite, they've basically been like, no, we're not doing another content roadmap. Avengers, for the Square Enix game,
Dead.
they're delisting at some point in the next couple of months. If you own it, you're fine, but you
Holy
can't buy
shit.
it after a certain point because they're like, we're so done. We're like wiping it from the fucking earth.
It's
Like,
fucking insane though. Like, how did they possibly think that their model for that game, which was essentially just pump as much paid cosmetic gear into the game as we can, was going to sustain it? Like, that's fucking insane.
they had a huge license.
Yeah.
At a time when it was like hot to death. Like a live service Avengers game made by Square Enix should have been a money printing engine. It should have been a fucking home run.
The announcement was
like,
big.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, they just couldn't land the plane. And instead of like trying to fix it, they're like, we're just gonna.
Let's just try to squeeze every drop of blood from the stone that we can. before
because
we
first, what they're
call it
gonna
quits.
do is they're gonna make all that microtransaction shit free for a period, and then the game just gets ghosted.
Yeah.
So yeah,
What's really weird though is then they turn around and they make Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a fucking great game.
So fucking good, man. It blows me away that Avengers wasn't that. But I mean, looking back at it, Guardians came out second, and it really felt like they wanted to right their wrongs with that, so to
yeah.
speak. But I mean, it was a different development team, wasn't it?
Yes.
Wasn't Guardians like Montreal or something? So it's a team in Montreal. Who is it?
I want to say that one of them was IDOS Montreal, the other was Crystal Dynamics.
IDOS Montreal. Yeah, yeah.
Guardians was Crystal Dynamics, I think, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds right.
Would track, that would be the Tomb Raider team.
Oh, okay.
Those games are good.
So, but I didn't hear anything about Halo Infinite essentially being shut down.
Oh, well, they were quiet about it.
That's
They
crazy.
didn't want to admit that their big dog was
Yeah,
truly a steaming pile.
Yeah, the roadmap is, I don't, you know what, we're talking big shit here. I'm gonna look it up right now.
You're just making it up. I mean, sometimes you got to make it up.
Ooh.
Oh,
Okay.
man, never
So
let the truth get in the way.
The last Halo Infinite, when you look up roadmap, there's posts from like September 2022, and then in January they're like, "Oh no, it's still on track. We're still doing it." But yeah, they said that the developer roadmap is unchanged after layoffs. But like, what does it even look like now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last update they did, like I want to say they put out an update for their season 2 or whatever in late last year, but it was kind of half of what it was supposed to be. And the important parts got cut. Like the parts that would make people come back and play the multiplayer portion of the game. / buy.
Because I'm like trying to find out what this fucking roadmap looks like, because that's important, you know? Like, I don't give a shit that it's on track. Tell me what it looks like. Tell me what the fucking deal is, guys. Don't just like blow the smoke right up my butthole. Give me a fucking, you know. Okay, here
okay,
we go.
there's the news. Halo Infinite won't get story DLC. Series is switching over to Unreal Engine.
Unreal 5, obviously.
Yeah.
Which I mean,
Okay.
that's pretty interesting that the entire engine's being swapped.
Well,
So-
that is a good sign. If they've
Yeah.
finally decided, hey, this thing we made, it's not good.
Yeah.
It's
Finally
barely
admitting.
functional.
So
Yeah.
so just for context, I'm looking at the Halo Infinite Fall Winter Roadmap as of September 1st, subject to change. We're getting a 30 tier battle pass and then a 100 tier battle pass. And then they're talking about co-op, but like, is that actually happening, or did they cut that?
They cut it, and then they fired because Bonnie said they cut it. Then they fired Bonnie, and Phil said we're doing it, and then they fired like most of the studio, so probably they're not doing it.
Yes, because aside from that, the campaign co-op promises, there's a Forge beta that they're talking about that again is very up in the wind from what I understand, and then like a couple of new maps and new equipment, and sometime between March and June they're promising arena and big team battle, and like, I don't know, man.
Here's a telling article. from 2 days ago. Xbox research survey asks fans if they are done playing Halo Infinite.
Wow.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
That's good shit.
Quotes around done playing Halo Infinite.
Uh-oh, Raggy. That's not great.
Ah, well, it. No, I was gonna say it had a good run, but it didn't. It really didn't.
Yeah. It was awful.
It had a run, and that run was
It was
bad.
awful. It ran.
Okay.
Yeah, it ran.
Yeah,
I mean, but like, did it even run? Or was it just limping along the road the entire way? Just limping along the side of the road the entire way. Being honked at by.
Listen, if that game didn't have the Halo franchise on it, it would have been
Oh,
trashed in reviews.
dead and buried. Dead and buried. Absolutely. Like, I wonder how many reviewers gave it high scores just because they couldn't bear to bring themselves to,
Yeah.
unfavorably score their childhood game, their childhood franchise.
Yeah, they put on the rose-colored or Master Chief colored glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Master Chief gold shield.
Mm-hmm.
Humming away the Marty O'Donnell soundtrack in their heads because they had to, because it's not in the game anymore.
Yep.
Anyway, I hope there's big things for Xbox this year.
What do you think? Like, sorry, go ahead, James.
I was just going to say, I hope there's things for Xbox this year.
Hope there's things. Like,
Hey-o. Hi-Fi Rush. That's it.
what does Halo need? Like, the next Halo game, what does it need to do to right these wrongs, to steer the ship?
Well, honestly, I think it needs to be out of the hands of 343.
Which it never will be, according to them.
They've proven that they can't make a Halo game.
Yeah.
If they really want to right the ship, they need to look back at why the older Halo games were successful. And a lot of it had to do with level design, simplicity of gameplay, and having players adapt on the fly, because you were always running out of ammunition. You had to pick up a plasma pistol, you had to pick up a needler, and those things had to be fun to do. Where Halo 4 and 5 went off the rails was way too many options for weapons and trying to expand on the experience. The best parts of Halo Infinite were the ones that emulated the old games in the linear levels and the tightly focused boss battles. Will they do that? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a great point, though. That's a great point. I totally agree.
What else is in the news there, JP?
Apparently EA has canceled the single-player Apex Titanfall game. There was it was unannounced. It was in the woods. It was all very secret. And then we hear a rumor that that thing you didn't know existed definitely doesn't exist. It's just definitely feels like the fastest the fucking game has gotten canned.
They also delayed Jedi Survivor.
Oh, really?
Yes, they did.
Yeah,
by 100
to
days
the end of April.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm happy about that.
Well, because the last one, when it came out, it needed heavy patching, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, it didn't get good until they released it on a console a generation above what it came out on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think it'll be the same. Yeah.
I am really
It'll be
curious
smooth.
what they're gonna do with the story, because it's in kind of a dark space in the Star Wars mythos at least in terms of what movies and mainstream stuff have covered. I want to see where they're going to go with it.
Yeah.
Because I especially in the last one, I like the villain. I thought the sisters and the Inquisition was a pretty good storyline. I think they can do lots with that.
Cool. I'm looking forward to going through it in April now. leading up to the release of the sequel.
Are you like feverishly recalculating your stream plans for
Yeah,
March?
100%. Yeah.
Halo Infinite
Yeah, because man,
before
it
it goes
gets
offline,
busy
man.
after it gets busy after February. Luckily, Hogwarts is really the only game that is on the horizon for February. But man, it gets busy when we get into March. So there's golf, there's baseball, there's Resident Evil 4, which
Well,
might
apparently there's going to be a Street Fighter mobile game coming out next month.
really tied in
No.
tied in with 6.
I have no idea. I just saw like a little news piece about it. It's just like Street Fighter Duel is coming to App Stores fucking February.
Woof.
And like,
I wonder.
what? Why?
Interesting.
Fighting games
Interesting.
require like perfect ping and like no latency or lag.
And a controller of some sort.
Yes, also a controller.
Right?
That's
A controller.
pretty-
I,
maybe they're doing like a goofy like a dive kick style control system where you have 2 buttons or like 2 or 3 buttons where it's just like, how do you play it? You're just like, you just press the buttons. It's fine. You just press the buttons. There's nothing
Yeah.
complicated to it.
that's a great deep cut, James. Dive kick is awesome.
Yeah, it's got literally 2 inputs and you make a fighting game out of it and it rules.
One hit kills. You either
yeah.
jump or attack. That's it.
Nice.
Yeah, I think. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't read enough of the article. Next
Oh.
month, Ryu and company will return to mobile devices with Street Fighter Duel, a free-to-play RPG that brings together 40 characters from the fighting game franchise in a new format that focuses on building teams of fighters.
Oh, I mean that actually sounds kind of sweet.
Yeah.
Build a team of Street Fighter characters. That's fucking dope.
I just shudder to think of how many timers and countdowns and chests and currencies are going to be in that thing.
Dude, you'll have to be like paying for attacks. You'll be in a fight and it's like, okay, yeah, you'll have to wait either 8 hours to do your Hadoken or you can pay $10.99 to do it now and maybe get a one-shot KO.
Oh shoot, he blocked it. That's too bad.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you can pay $5.99 here to try to counter that, and yeah.
It's only $2.99 to sweep the leg.
Oh, so you
Yeah.
got to do that. Like, what's $2.99, right? I'll get one of those, and then that comes with a free fireball, so I'm gonna have to get that. Yeah,
Get the mega pack. You know, it's your parents' credit card anyway.
dude.
so-
Seriously, $66.99, but who gives a fuck?
Yeah, I'm pretty. I don't know how I'm feeling pretty cool about Street Fighter 6. I know it's like I'm not good at fighting games, but like when I really like Street Fighter. I think it's fucking great. I think
Yeah.
Street Fighter 4 like changed the game in the best way, and it was like so much fucking fun, and like everything they've done to iterate upon that fucking initial formula has been a really wild and wonderful time. And 6 looks like smooth as shit and like super slick, and I'm pretty into it.
Yeah.
Lots
Yeah.
of new people to fucking get in there and mix it up with, which is great.
I'm with you. I've never been good at Street Fighter. I have no business whatsoever playing Street Fighter 6, but I'm going to. But I
Yeah.
want it. I want it. It looks so beautiful for one thing, and it looks more accessible than ever. I want to play it.
Yeah,
I really do.
5 kind of burnt me because like it was like, here's the basic roster of fighters, and now pay fucking $10.99 or $15 for every wave of new fighters that comes in, or
Yeah.
pay like a fucking king's ransom for a season pass. There's 2 season passes, and it's just like, wow, you guys can get fully fucked.
Yeah.
And I don't doubt that they're gonna continue on with that same system with this one, but like a man can dream,
Oh
that
yeah.
pick up a fighting game and play and it'll be great. But I mean, it's either that or they make 6 versions of it like they did with Street Fighter 2.
Yeah. Yeah, well, undoubtedly, like we were talking about microtransactions, undoubtedly Street Fighter 6 will have an overwhelming amount of them. By the end,
Yeah.
I'd say by the end of the first year that the game has been out, there will be an overwhelming number of microtransactions on the store. And it'll just grow and grow and grow. But I mean, with that said, like it's never anything that you need to pay to play. It's always just cosmetic shit, but it's always good cosmetic shit, and you
Yeah.
want to spend the money on it. Yeah, like great costumes, great stages. Fuckers, they know, they know what they're doing. Capcom knows what they're doing with that one.
They know what's up, those nasty bitches.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a subset of art departments that have color schemes and design elements on lock, and all of them look awesome. Capcom is one of them for sure. I would also put the Destiny art team in there too.
Dude, seriously, with that new expansion especially, my goodness.
Yeah, every time they come out with a color scheme, and you can get 99% of them for free, by playing the game. But if you scroll through the story, you're like, shit, that looks good. Oh shit, that looks good. Damn it, that looks good.
Yeah,
you could go nuts.
yeah.
I think that's coming out this month.
It is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, luckily I don't play Destiny because that would definitely be one that I would need to get into otherwise. Retired a long time ago though, and I refuse to go back.
Well, I requested review keys, and usually they'll send at least
Multiple?
a handful.
Okay, well I got the game, so I mean if you got a fistful of them, maybe toss one my way. We could play it on stream.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Nothing but light whips and
Dude, just dripping in neon. I love it.
just fantastic emotes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Like speaking of neon and emotes, my very favorite emote was that ramen noodle from
Oh, yeah.
like season 1. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, your
Yep.
dude would fucking pull out the bowl of neon ramen and he'd be scooping it. Oh, so good. So good.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. It was the best.
Now, isn't that worth the low price of 1,500 silver?
Yo, seriously. It was like 30 man, and I never acquired it, but
No.
yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah. Any other news, James?
I've been scrolling the old feeds and I don't know if there's a whole lot else going on. It's at least not in the last few days. They've announced a new Disgaea game, which it's weird because I don't really get hyped about them, but when one comes out, I'll give it 100 hours of my time. I just will. I did it with the last one. I put a pretty respectable amount of time into Disgaea 6. Pretty ridiculous. I'll just keep doing it. I can just keep making those games. I'll keep playing them. I don't know, man.
They know their
They
audience.
get more and more inscrutable, more and
Yeah.
more like impossible to describe or to like fucking break down. The last one I was getting to the point where you could like turn it on, run a subroutine, and it would just like go, and you had to like change your switch settings so it wouldn't go to sleep without any inputs. So I would just like let it run in auto battles, and I'd go to bed and I'd come back the next day and be like, cool, I've gained a couple 100,000 levels. This is dope. It's just like it's like the fucking nastiest nonsense.
I mean, it's an inescapable part of the video game experience. You want to see the numbers bigger, more levels, more damage, more health, better stats.
They have taken that philosophy and ran with it directly to the core of the earth. Like they like in every game too, they're like, yeah, man, I know we went pretty big last time, but like scientists discovered some new numbers, so we're gonna use them.
We invented a supercomputer to add more levels to this Disgaea game. It had to count
Yeah.
higher.
Yeah, I think because it used to be that like you would get to like level 10,000 and that was your cap, and I think they added like an extra 9 onto that, so it's like 99,000 is what the level cap is, and like the stats get so crazy, and it's just like it's like do you want to be able to beat these crazy extra bosses? Well, better quit your job and like play this fucking game.
I'm into that.
Pretty cool.
The last piece of news I came across is the PS Plus games for next month.
Mm,
It's a pretty good list. 4
really?
games: Evil Dead, Ollie Ollie World,
Nice.
the last
Nice.
Destiny 2 expansion, Beyond Light, or no, the one
Oh,
before the
that's
last, Beyond Light,
oh,
which is a good one. Beyond Light's good,
right.
and Mafia Definitive Edition.
That's cool.
It's not
Those
bad of a
Mafia
haul.
games. Those Mafia games are underrated, especially 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could install I could do a Destiny. I could do a Destiny on my PlayStation 5.
You know, fulfill your destiny, embrace your destiny.
I mean that last expansion doesn't look nearly as good as this new one though. It kind of hurts that the new one isn't coming to. And see, this is what I was saying when I was on stream. I was talking to one of our latest followers. It's the one big thing about this new PS Plus subscription service that I just can't get I can't wrap my head around is that Xbox, you're getting so much stuff that comes out day one, right? And like exclusive stuff too. Um, with this PlayStation Plus subscription service, like I just can't jump onto it until like Sony commits to all of their games being there day one. You know, I want
Yeah, but
Last of Us 3 needs to be there day one.
like they can't do
Uncharted
that.
5 needs to be there day one.
They can't do that because they don't have the same liquid capital
Right.
that
Yeah.
Microsoft does. It's like Microsoft could just buy Sony tomorrow if they
Yeah.
felt like
Yeah,
if they
and
felt up to it.
that's why the service will never be as good as Game Pass. That's why Game Pass will always continue to be like the best value in gaming. You know,
But at
the
the same
games
time,
might not always be there, but
yeah, but at the same time, with that the day one games proposal, I don't think Microsoft has proven that to be a game changer. Like, yes, they have day one games, but until there's Xbox Game Studios games coming out every month on that service, then Sony's gonna go, okay, maybe we need to do something here then, and
right.
and change our strategy. But for now, God of War Ragnarok sold 11 million copies. They don't
Right.
have to do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Well, I mean, if they want my money, they do. Motherfuckers.
Zing.
Yeah. But no, yeah, I got you. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, dudes.
Yeah.
You were going to say something, James. Go for it, by all means.
Oh no. I was gonna start a sentence with the vain hope that I would figure out a way to end it. I didn't do that. I had a plane with no engine. It stays in the hangar.
I'm curious, just in case, if y'all have watched the Last of Us HBO
I have.
series. Yeah.
I
Well,
have.
what do y'all think?
I haven't watched it yet.
Um,
I'm waiting for it all to come out.
Yeah.
well,
Fair.
we've been watching it week by week just because we want to, and it rips. Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal are fucking amazing. They do great work. Bella Ramsey is so good. She's such a little shit. It's awesome. and like um they they do expand on and like go into like slightly new directions, like slightly new directions. They like change a little
Well,
couple little
up
things here
until
and there.
episode 3, it was slightly new directions.
Yeah, yeah. Episode 3 is a truly remarkable episode of television. I tell you what. Um,
I disagree. I disagree. But go ahead.
yeah, I just in itself it tells a very good story. You know, it's a kind of representation you don't generally see on television all that often. Everybody's performances were exceptional.
Offerman
Um,
was great. Offerman was
Offerman is amazing.
fantastic. Yeah.
Offerman
Yeah.
is a fucking tour de force,
Yeah.
and like, um, it's I find it interesting that they took time to tell that story. Just to show that, like, hey, sometimes good things happen in the end of the world. You know, so it ain't all bad. Sometimes you find people and you build a little life for yourself, and it's like that's cool. That's great news. It's not all fucked. It's
Mhm.
like that's good. It felt like a palate cleanser before the main course of abject fucking misery.
For sure. For
It
sure.
feels it. Yeah, episode 3 feels like yeah, yeah. This is how good it could be. We're never getting this again. Enjoy it. All right, that's
You're
it.
right. I'm sure episode 4 is going to be pretty graphic. You are right about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, like Pedro Pascal.
He's
He
incredible.
they found they're like, listen, this guy knows how to play a grumpy old motherfucker who has to
Yeah.
take care of a young, precocious little shit.
Yeah.
It's his calling in life. We've never seen anybody do it better, and they pegged him for this, and it was perfect. They made the perfect decision.
Hmm. Yeah, he's a great actor. Same thing like with his role in Game of Thrones. He wasn't around long, but the exact same thing that you were saying there when Game of Thrones was on, I was like, dude, this guy was made for this role. This is him. He is the Red Viper.
And it's
Yeah,
interesting too because the internet really ripped on that casting when they cast him as Joel. They're like, this guy, you know, does he have the chops to do it? You know, can he pull off that gruffness? But I haven't seen it yet, but really
Yeah.
looking forward to it because the internet is always divided on things, and this is one of those things where everyone agrees it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's been very good, especially the first episode, like the first 45 minutes, I thought was incredible. One of the best adaptations of a video game to the big screen ever. One thing, like, I think that there's been 2 episodes that have been 70 plus minutes. They both have dragged on a little bit,
Mm.
but I'm curious to see how many episodes we actually get in the season. Because if it's just going to be like 6 episodes and 4 of them end up being 70 plus minutes, then fair. But if it's like 10 or 12 episodes and a lot of them go like this, I don't know. They could run the risk of having a little too much filler in there. And that's what I thought episode 3, it kind of walked the line of, it teetered the line of, there was a little too much stuff in there that, as a fan of especially the original game, I felt like they could have gone one way with the story. Like, I would have loved to see, and I'm no spoilers, because Paul, you haven't seen it, but I just would have loved to see how Bill and Joel actually met each other for the first time. We didn't get that in that episode. There were little things like that that I felt like could have been in there instead of some other stuff.
right. Okay.
Yeah. But
Um,
I will say it's absolutely gorgeous. It's a beautiful show. It's being shot out in Alberta, Calgary specifically, and it's absolutely beautiful.
makes the province look prettier than it has any
Oh,
reason.
yeah.
Goddamn sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I'm gonna say
as somebody who's from Alberta, if you avoid the main cities, there are some truly gorgeous parts of that province and of that region.
Yeah.
yeah,
And glad they're
I
showing
grew
it
up
off.
in one. I know. Yeah, I know.
Anyway, they did
Yeah.
renew this show for season 2.
Oh,
already.
yeah.
Apparently
Which-
season.
I'd be curious to see if is season 1 The Last of Us, and season 2
Yes.
is part 2.
Yes. Yes.
Is moving along at that clip.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what
okay.
we've been told. Yes.
I would absolutely expect. I mean, now I don't want to spoil anything for James because he's watching the show now. But yes, I would absolutely expect the first season to end where the first game ended.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fascinating then, because I would love to see what they can do with that part 2 with some extra space to tell a story.
What's also, I guess, what kind of tells me that they're going to end the first season where the first game ended, though, is because like they specified with season 2, I think it was Druckmann himself. He was like, I feel like the second season is or the second game is a bigger story to tell. So he said that he didn't feel like the second game would be one season. And I don't feel like he'd need to clarify that unless like they had already shot the first game as one season. You know?
Yeah. That's a good point. Exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
Can't wait to watch it.
That's good. Yeah.
All right, dudes. Should we get out of here?
Yeah.
Rhett's got to, he's got to fuel up. He's got to get ready. He's got to get his mind right.
Yeah, 1 hour. If we got anybody in here, yeah, 1 hour. We'll be playing some Demon Souls. Come on down, check it out.
Sounds good. I'll try to drop by and watch some of the stream.
100%. Come on by. Come feel the pain. Last episode was pretty good. We improved our character quite a bit. I'm playing as that royalty class.
Oh yeah.
And we made some progress. Got a good weapon. Leveled up a bit. But the episode before that, episode 5, man, I was ready to put my head through the wall here. Like, it was bad. It was really bad.
All right. Well, we'll hope it's the former and not the latter then tonight for you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching or listening, whether you're here now or you're here later. Thanks. We appreciate it. This is Press X, the podcast, and we are the fellas who do this thing for the last 6 years. Isn't that weird?
Right.
6 years we've been doing this.
Yep.
Well, I've been here, what, 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had a couple years. You had a couple
3?
years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So maybe we should get some of the old veterans. I believe Sean was an original cast member.
Yeah. Founding member. I'm sure he'd come back on.
We should try and get him on here. I've never spoken to him.
It's tough to get him talking video games because there's certain ones he can't really talk about for professional reasons.
Yeah.
But I feel like we could probably curate a discussion set list, so to speak, that would keep from stepping on any toes.
Yeah.
I cannot comment on this video game. Yeah, anyways, we'll see what we can do about that. But
Cool.
Yeah.
In the meantime, take care of yourselves, everybody. And we'll see you right back here next time